What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. The NFL today, the Miami Dolphins had a flurry of moves that they made. They are shaking up their roster. They're kind of hitting the reset button. They're going to be making probably more moves in the coming weeks. Tua Tagovailoa maybe one. The two moves they made today were they released pass rusher Bradley Chubb, two-time Pro Bowler, and they also released former chief wide receiver Tyreek Hill. So, I want to talk about specifically Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek Hill obviously started his career in Kansas City, had great success, won a Super Bowl there, greatest Chiefs receiver of all time. I mean, that's pretty non-debatable, really. Greatest of all time for the Chiefs, and in my opinion, future Hall of Fame wide receiver. He's one of the best to ever do it. Fastest man I've ever seen play the position. Just a great player. Fantastic player all around. Obviously, the person, Tyreek Hill, some questionable characteristics there. He's been in some trouble before for different things. I won't get into all the laundry list of things that he's been in trouble for. But him being released today has obviously created the topic, will the Chiefs re-sign Tyreek Hill? So, I have a couple thoughts. First off, if you're asking me, do I think that he will go back to the Chiefs? I do. I do think that he and the Chiefs will reunite. It feels inevitable. This move has felt inevitable for quite some time. Really, as soon as as soon as Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs all those years ago. Since he's left the Chiefs, he has done nonstop talk about the Chiefs. He's talked about the Chiefs literally since he left. It's like the ex-girlfriend that breaks up with you, wants to move on, but then in the next relationship, she just continually talks about you the whole time. That's Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill has won. Cookie's got a squeaky toy, so yeah, that's fun. Tyreek Hill has had major success in Miami. He's had huge seasons, big numbers. Again, he's continued on doing great things with the Dolphins. But since he's left the Chiefs, it has just been nonstop talking about the Chiefs. It's pretty clear. And since he's left the Chiefs have had a revolving door of guys. And we've had success with those guys. We've won with those guys. Whether it's Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. The list goes on and on. But it's been a revolving door. And we have not been able to figure that position out the day that Tyreek Hill walked out that door. The day that Tyreek Hill left, we have been just putting guys in and out of there, trying to figure it out, trying to find the right fit. And you know what? It's hard to replace Tyreek Hill. It's almost impossible. You just don't replace a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver like that. The fastest man in the league. You don't replace that. And we found that out, And we've had success. We've won Super Bowls without him. But there's been a gap there. There's been a gap there since the day he walked out the door and went to Miami. So this move to me really feels inevitable. It feels like it's going to happen. It feels like Tyreek Hill is bound to come home to Kansas City and give it another shot here and see how he does with the Chiefs. Now, should the Chiefs make this move? Should he make this move? That's not as clear cut. For Tyreek, he's obviously going to be 32 years old. He is coming off a really serious knee injury, and for a guy who is built on speed and built on quickness and shiftiness, a knee injury is a really bad one to withstand. So it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back. If he bounces back, he's supposed to be ready for the regular season. He got hurt in late September this last season, so he should be ready to go for the regular season if all goes well. But there's a big question mark. It's a big question mark if he's going to be able to continue to do what he was doing at any kind of similar level to where he was. So you got to take that into consideration. Also, he's been obviously making big-time money with the Dolphins, and he's still going to make big-time money with the Dolphins. Them cutting him does not solve that problem. He is still going to make a lot of money with the Dolphins. So if he is willing to come into the Chiefs at a very, very team-friendly deal, and also with the assumption that your role on this team is going to be different than it was when you were here the first time, I'm for it. I'm for the move. But those are big questions. That's a big question of if he can come back and be anywhere similar to what he was. And if he's willing to take a role and a pay decrease. His role, he cannot be at this point. He's 32 years old. The Chiefs need to figure out the future, and they need to figure out what's the long-term plan. Now, there is a gap right now for this upcoming season with receiver. we only have 2 guys currently signed up for deals at the wide receiver position. So there's a hole there. There's a need. There's a fit. It does make sense in that regard, but it's not the long-term solution to anything. This is more of a nostalgia move. This is more of a move to kind of maybe help stabilize it right now, kind of get the band back together. If Travis comes back one more year, EB's obviously back as OC, maybe kind of a prove it year and see, do you get acclimated back into this offense? Do you still have what you have anywhere close to that? And again, in terms of the character questions, I mean, they were there when he was here the first time. I'm not going to get too much into all that. That's a whole different conversation. But in terms of Tyreek Hill, I do feel like this move seems inevitable. I do think he's going to come back to the Chiefs as long as he's willing to accept those 2 things. One, I'm not going to be the focal point of this offense because I'm 32 years old and because I'm coming off a torn ACL, and I'm not the future of this team. The future of this team may not be here right now. For right now, he might be the guy, but this is not the future. This is not the solution long term. So if he's willing to accept a role of, just a kind of a complementary piece to this offense, I'm for it. And if he's willing to show that in the price range, I'm for it. Will he be willing to do that? I don't know. The question remains to be seen on that. So, but yeah, that's the news of the day. So this will be a move that we'll see kind of unfold itself out here in the coming weeks. Since he was released now, he is able, I believe, to go find a team right now. I believe he's able to go out and, teams can sign him because he was actually released. So I think we'll find out here in the next week or so where the Chiefs stand with Tyreek Hill. Maybe they let it play out and see about the injury stuff, kind of where he's at closer to training camp and the offseason workouts. But if you're asking my opinion as a Chief fan, I do think that Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs, I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to come back. And again, for all of Tyreek's faults, and Tyreek's got plenty of faults, but for all of his faults, I am appreciative of him. I love him for everything he did with the Chiefs the first go-around. He's the greatest Chief wide receiver in franchise history. I have a lot of respect for Tyreek the player. And, if he comes back, I'd welcome him back. I hope that maybe in his time in Miami, maybe he has learned kind of the value of just being with this team, being with Reed, being with Mahomes, being with Kelsey, and how important that is. I think he has from everything he has said since he's left, but time will tell. So that is the news of the day, though. That is the news of the day, is that Tyreek Hill has been released by the Dolphins, and obviously we'll see what happens with him and the Chiefs if that ever unfolds into anything. But we'll keep our eyes posted, and I'll let you know if I hear anything. So those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think it's a good signing, a bad signing if he goes to Kansas City or if he goes somewhere else? Tell me what you think of that. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a good one.